Okay then guys, what's going on? Cloud Plays here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today we're inside of Hogwarts Legacy and we've got loads of information, including some information which is concerning about the frame rates. We've also got a load of stuff inside of the game which are more alive than you may think, the day and night cycle, and we're also going to be talking about issues with the last gen consoles, including the Switch. So with that being said, if you haven't already, make sure you're smashing that beautiful blue thumbs up and subscribe with post notifications turned on. It'd be greatly appreciated. Also, when we hit 50,000 subscribers, we're going to be giving away an Xbox Series S plus a game of your choice, and if you want to get involved with that, head down to the description, drop me a follow on Instagram or on Twitter. Make sure you're a subscriber here on the channel. Leave a comment with your username and the platform you followed me on, and we can dive into it. Okay, let's get in. So, a very, very popular YouTuber of the name JawRaptor actually posted up some gameplay with regards to the frame rates. We obviously have two different options to choose from, the fidelity and the performance mode. Now, fidelity mode is at 30 frames per second, and as you can see, there is so much more detail, including lighting, shadows, graphical detail in the face and features, and it just looks all more detailed as an overall, versus the 60 frames per second, which we're finding it seems to lose quite a lot of quality when it comes to that 60 frames per second. You're losing a lot of shadows, you're losing a lot of lighting, and it just looks completely like block capital. It looks a little bit weird. There's no lights that come through the window. The graphical detail is minimalistic to say the least, just to get the graphics at a 60 frames per second rating. Now this is a massive concern, and this leads into quite a few other things later on in the video, so make sure you stay tuned. But I do find it a little bit disappointing, as a lot of the graphical imagery, such as the lighting that comes through the window, the shadows around the characters, the detail in the clothing and stuff like that, was something I really loved about a lot of the gameplay trailers and a lot of the showcases that we'd seen prior to this, and we just don't seem to have any of this in the 60 frames per second. But it does definitely give you guys a lot more of a bonus of speed and stuff like that when flying, and so much more. So the 60 frames per second is a lot smoother to play with. It just looks a lot less impressive. While we're talking about that though, we are going to talk about the issues with the PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Switch, mainly because the next generation has got some problems with it. When we look at the fidelity mode versus the performance mode, like we've just stated, we lose so much more detail when we go into the performance mode capital, and you will find that the fidelity mode at 30 frames per second does not run as smoothly, although it does look a lot more impressive. Now with the PS4, Xbox One and the Switch version having a delayed date, there is evidently some technical framework that is going on there, and there's a bit of an issue with that, which is why they've delayed it so far backwards. But for me, this is more concerning because I don't actually know how it's going to cope on the last generation consoles and on the Switch specifically. If we're going to lose that much graphical detail and that much sort of like overall graphical imagery just because we're putting up to 60 frames per second, the 30 frames per second is going to be hitting over all of the old gen consoles, which means it's going to look really impressive. It's just going to play like ass. And for me, that's something I'm really concerned about, is I don't think that that's going to be something that they are ever going to be able to fix, although that's what I feel like they are trying to rectify, which is why the Switch is so far away from its release date. This is a massive issue because the game has got so much hype around it, and by the time they release these old gen copies, people are going to seen so much of this game already. So for me, I just think it's capping the sales on things, and I think that there's a lot of issues that could come from this. And for those people playing on old generation consoles and on the Switch, this is going to be a really difficult time for you guys if you're as hyped up as the rest of the community. Now, next up, we're talking about the Hogwarts school itself. Now, Hogwarts is alive on so many levels. Students are doing so many interesting things that they're talking about so much, and there's even scripted events that will trigger when the player gets closer to the specific areas. Now, there is going to be so much, and there is going to be a lot of detail, as such as like students practicing magic and walking on walls and just trialing new things. They're going to be messing around with broomsticks or on the Quidditch pitch. There's so much that you can go and see, and you'll get a lot of gossip from the students and the teachers roaming around the schools as they all talk in real time. So my biggest piece of advice for this is just to like enjoy it. There's a lot of nostalgia moments if you guys are Harry Potter fans, but if you're not Harry Potter fans, that's absolutely fine as well. A lot of it is just enjoyable to watch, hear, and see as an overall, but my advice would be to play at your own pace, but go through it at a slower pace if you can. Do not speed through this game because you are going to miss out on a lot. And next up, we've got inside the Hogwarts school itself, the day and night cycle changes and how things look, and the features in the area are actually insane how different that they can look. The herbology section, that is one thing that we've seen quite a lot on just recently. We've obviously got gameplay for day and night cycles, and it just looks looks like a completely different place, including small fireflies and stuff like that are flying around the room. It definitely leads that the whole game is going to be two different variation experiences when you go through it in the day and at night. And I didn't think that was going to be the case. One was dark, one was light. That's kind of how I looked at this going, but they've just put so much more imagination into what comes out in the day, what comes out in the night, how it affects the main students that are wandering around the place, or just the NPCs wandering around Hogsmeade, and then everything else on top of it, such as magical creatures and things that you'll see in the limelights. It's really impressive, and I'm really excited to see what it is that they've made up for this. Now, this was just a brief one and just giving you guys a little bit of more info than what we've had over the last few days, which has been absolutely oodles of it. And if you guys have missed anything, then make sure that you head down into the description. I'll leave the link to the playlist so you guys can go and watch so much more info that's come out from Hogwarts Legacy here on the channel. Thank you so much again for watching, guys. If you haven't already, smash that beautiful blue thumbs up, subscribe with post notifications turned on. I appreciate all of your faces, but as always, until the next time, I'll see you in the clouds.